Hasbro finally delivered, just in time for the holidays. After more than a decade on collectors' wishlist, the Marvel Legends Phoenix Rachel Summers is finally here. But was she worth the wait? Is this the missing piece to complete your Excalibur shelf? Or did Hasbro quietly leave out some crucial accessory? And no, I'm not talking about the missing hands. Let's get into it. Before we take a close look, I need to give you a quick warning about the Phoenix effects. Be extremely careful when removing those wings. Always take the hands off first before you attach or detach the effects. In my rush, I pulled the effects straight right out, thinking they were molded as a single solid piece like other Marvel Legends effects. But that section actually snapped in half. That's because Hasbro glued them together instead of molding them as one part. I tried to glue them on, but it doesn't work. This does let me use the effect for characters with thicker forearms or slide it higher up the biceps, but it's not something that I would recommend, so please handle with care. Let's take a closer look at Rachel. She comes with two head sculpts, the calm, depowered head and the Hound head sculpt. Should she have come with another one? We'll talk about that later. For the depowered head, she features comic book accurate inkjet printed green eyes. Hasbro did a great job on this sculpt because she has the right amount of red blush in certain areas. Both head sculpts features bangs on her forehead. This is the likely reason why there is a gap between the hair and the face. You can see the gap if you take a closer look, but it is hardly noticeable from afar. Both heads also feature a tiny ponytail, which I think they refer to as the female mullet. The depowered head has all red lips, while the Hound head sculpts feature a crimson dark red top lip. The Hound head sculpt is particularly impressive because the marks look like actual tattoos and her eyes appear to be glowing, surrounded by a dark reddish wash. The rest of her body is a plain red plastic, but with spiky bits that can actually hurt or lightly scratch you. The nice thing about the spiky bits is they don't hinder articulation. They are strategically placed in which they won't hit the part where you hinge or you swivel apart, especially the upper torso. It's amazing how when you crunch forward and back, those spikes won't hinder it. When you crunch forward, the middle spike would just go underneath the upper torso. That's great engineering by Hasbro. I believe the spiky bits are actually painted on, so I'm not sure whether the silver shiny paint of those spikes can be removed. The articulation of the figure is really good. She has double jointed pinless elbows and knees, but I wish she had a ab crunch. Although I understand why it was not added, it's in order to preserve the aesthetics of the figure. Not 6, but only 4 hands. These are the first pair, which is a pair of open palm expressive hands. These are the usual expressive hands. These hands can hinge forward and back. I checked Hasbro polls. She has 6 hands in the photos. Has Hasbro ever explained why it's not the same for the actual product? This is the second set. It's not a fair. One C-grip hand or weapon holding hand which can hinge forward and back, and a right closed fist hand which can hinge forward and back. In some ways, I understood why they have to cut down the number of accessories. Most likely it is because of the Phoenix effects. But I prefer to have 2 closed fist hands instead of the C-grip hand. But that hand is essential in order for Rachel to hold on to her main accessory, which is the comic book. It is a good 6-inch scale replica of Excalibur number 1, published October 1988. At the back, it says Marvel Legends series and the logo of Hasbro. In the comments below, let me know, was it worth it to add the C-grip hand and the comic book instead of other essential accessories that Rachel may need. Rachel Summers the Phoenix comes with the essential Phoenix effects, and they are brand new effects. I'm glad recently that Hasbro has started creating unique effects specific to characters. This one is nicely translucent, yellowish with some red parts. It's really nice. In order to attach it, make sure to remove the hand first. Just as I said a while ago, it's important that you remove the hands whenever you attach or detach the Phoenix effects. Based on the promo shots, this is the particular effect for the left hand. It has those extra bits of flame coming out from the end, while the next one is of a different design. It's not symmetrical, but there are no strict instructions on how to attach them because you can attach it in either forearm. Just make sure to be careful because like what I mentioned a while ago, those pieces are quite thin and it may easily snap. I'm really glad that even with the large Phoenix wing effect, Hasbro still included an alternate Hound head for Rachel. This look represents a major moment in the character's history. Rachel Summers is the survivor of Earth 811 timeline, first appearing in the legendary X-Men Days of Future Past storyline from Uncanny X-Men number 141 and 142. The Hound served under the villain Ahab, who unfortunately still doesn't have a Marvel Legends figure. So I'm using another ruthless A, Apocalypse, as a stand-in. Ahab forced Rachel to hunt down mutants and psychologically tortured her. We first see this in Fantastic Four Annual number 23. Then in the emotionally devastating moment from X Factor Annual number 5, where a traumatized Jean Grey rejects the daughter she hasn't even conceived yet. Rachel eventually escaped the darkness and turned that trauma into strength, leading to this iconic Excalibur Phoenix uniform. The red spike armor you see on the figure wasn't the original drab Hound uniform. But by the time of New Mutants Annual number 6, this upgraded red design became the standard and the most dynamic look for Ahab's task force. Rachel took that uniform and wore it as an act of defiance. If you look at the cover of Excalibur number 1, she has the full all-red flame-up head. That look also appears inside the issue, on the packaging art for this figure, and in the classic 90s trading cards. Unfortunately, the Marvel Legends figure doesn't include that final definitive Excalibur Phoenix head sculpt. For some collectors, that was a huge omission. For others, they're simply relieved that after more than a decade of waiting, we finally have a Marvel Legends Rachel Summers Phoenix figure. So, in the second part of this review, I'm going to kitbash my own version to give her that proper all-red flame-up Phoenix head. If you found this review useful, I hope you give it a like, give it a hype, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends. For places where the figures in this review might still be available, I left some links in the description below.
I'm Juggernaut!
Rachel Summers' last Marvel Legends figure was the Marvel Girl release from the 2007 Brood Queen Build-A-Figure wave, meaning it's been more than 18 years between the Marvel Legends versions of Rachel. That release actually had 3 variants under the name Marvel Girl: the depowered look based on Chris Bachalo's artwork, and the 2 all-black Phoenix variants. Those 2 were essentially the same powered-up design, one facing forward and the other facing backward. The backward-facing one possibly paying homage to the cover of Uncanny X-Men number 468 from January 2006. A huge thanks to my friend Power Up X-Men for that golden bit of history. 3 years later, in September 2009, Diamond Select released the Marvel Select Marvel Girl. Collectors chased that one down mostly for the unique X-Mansion Gate diorama piece that you can connect together. Credit to Scotty Allen of Action Figure Blues and to MarvelousNews.com for the archive photos. These figures all came out long before I started collecting back in 2020. For a quick kit bash, here's the new Rachel Summers head on the House of X Marvel Girl body. The costume isn't an exact match to her classic Marvel Girl design, but visually it works well enough, and the scale looks right at first glance, especially since she appears shorter than the X-Men 97 Jean Grey Marvel Girl figure. But I may have overlooked a detail. Canonically, Rachel is actually supposed to be taller than Jean. Rachel is 5 feet 7, while Jean Grey is 5 feet 6. So technically, Rachel should edge her out by an inch. Now, after all these years, Hasbro finally checks off the wish list, bringing nearly 2 decades with this new 2025 Marvel Legends Excalibur Phoenix. Another question that comes to mind is, with this Hasbro Marvel Legends Phoenix Rachel Summers, did Hasbro complete the whole Excalibur team? Probably the core Excalibur team, the famous ones, which is the Big Five. But there are other members of Excalibur from the 90s, which includes Widget, Ceres, and Kylun. Although those are debatable members, like they might be needed or not. Let me know in the comments below, do you still want Marvel Legends figures of those characters? Starting off the Kitbash with something a little spicy, a Hellfire Club spicy one, where Rachel and Magma went undercover to fight the Hellfire Club. Here is the inner circle against Magma. The problem with the Selene or Black Queen body is the skin tone won't really match. As you can see, Rachel's skin is a little bit on the lighter side. I tried the White Queen Emma Frost body and it actually works a little bit in terms of the skin color, but the problem with this body as always is the long neck. So if you don't hinge her head, she'll have a giraffe-like head. In terms of another White Queen body which actually works, it is the X-Men 97 White Queen body, wherein the neck is just about right. So this one somehow matches the skin of Rachel Summers. It's not really perfect, but it's the closest one. A while ago, I did several head swaps between daughter and mother, Rachel and Jean Grey. Here is the Hound head on the Phoenix body. It's now mom's turns. Here is Phoenix Jean Grey head, which is the depowered version, on the Rachel Summers body. In the comments below, let me know, does this head swap work? Where mom does a cosplay of her daughter's Hound costume. For the other Phoenix head, which is somewhat the dark Phoenix one, it works perfectly for this Hound costume Rachel body. Another dark Phoenix head from the Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack of Cyclops and Phoenix. Here is the Hound head on that particular dark Phoenix body. It works fine. I've always used the dark Phoenix body as the red costume Rachel Summers, and at that time I didn't have a Rachel Summer head. I used the Age of Apocalypse Phoenix head because that is the only Jean Grey that I have with short hair. Thankfully, I don't need to do that anymore because now we have the Marvel Legends Phoenix Rachel Summers. Well, let's still try out that head on the Hound costume Phoenix. This is what she looks like. It's alright. But surprisingly, the new Rachel Summers head on the Age of Apocalypse Phoenix body actually works really well. It somewhat makes it an upgrade compared to the older Jean Grey head. If you found this head swaps useful, hope you give this review a hype and a like. Marvel Legends Phoenix Rachel Summers from the mini comic book accessory wave stands 15.2 cm or 6 inches tall. According to the Impulse trading card, she is 5 feet 7 inches tall, which makes this figure a little bit spot on in terms of height. Here she is besides her mom, Jean Grey, And as usual, Marvel Legends Jean Greys are usually taller than their actual 5 feet 6 inch height in the comic books. On the right is the 1/12 scale Mafex Jean Grey, which seems to be the right height versus Rachel Summers. Here is Rachel Summers besides her dad, Scott Summers, Cyclops X-Men 97, X-Factor Cyclops, X-Men 97 Jim Lee style Cyclops, which are all in the Vulcan body mold, which is the normal height for male Marvel Legends figures, and towards the end we have Astonishing X-Men Cyclops. Different shape and sizes of Marvel Legends male: Teenager Miles Morales, X-Men 97 Brown Costume Wolverine, Maximum Series Spider-Man, Maximum Series Deadpool. Different shapes and sizes of females: X-Men 97 White Queen, X-23 which is the teenage body mold, Gamerverse Psylocke, sought after reissued Warbird. Figures I recently reviewed: World War II Logan, Beast, still pending for review, Feral, the Marvel Unlimited exclusive Peach Momoko's Spider-Woman, Mezco 1/12 Collective Bishop, Darna by Halimo Sculptures and Loose Collector. For a 6-inch scale versus 7-inch scale size comparison, Marvel celebrating 80 years Hulk and the Marvel Select Hulk. Rachel Summers completing the Excalibur team. Nightcrawler from the Wendigo Ville the Figure Wave, from the 3-pack Hasbro Pulse exclusive, Shadowcat, Captain Britain, and Megan. For a kitbash to give Rachel that Excalibur number 1 head wherein it is powered up, I am using the 2021 Walgreens exclusive Binary. Missing of course is the Hound marks and that hairstyle. But this is the best that I can do. This is the only red flaming head that I have in my collection. I do hope in future when Hasbro creates another Rachel Summers figure, maybe in a different costume, they would include this particular head wherein she's flaming red. In the comments below, I'd love to hear other suggestions for a red flaming head for Rachel. Maybe you have other figures that can match the look of Rachel in this particular trading card. For packaging, Marvel Legends Phoenix comes in the retro style mini comic book accessory wave packaging. On top, it says Excalibur. On the left is a corner box of Rachel, a product render, Marvel Legends 1988 number 1, which refers to Excalibur number 1, which was published in 1988. Both art is from Excalibur number 1. On the left is a pin-up art by Alan Davis. On the right is a panel art within Excalibur number 1. Font style pays homage to the old Marvel Legends. At the back are the figures included in this wave. Here is a short read-up. Pause it right now if you want to have a read. Some warning legalities and the barcode. For articulation, Rachel's head can move from side to side easily. She can move up and down with a neck hinge. Arms can extend that far. She does not have a butterfly joint. She can do a full 360 right here. She has a bicep swivel right here. Double jointed pinless elbows. The wrist can swivel and can hinge forward and back. She has a upper torso swivel right here. The spikes does not hinder it. She can crunch a little because of this type of articulation. Can crunch backward really well. No waist swivel. Can do a split. Upper thigh swivel right here. Double jointed pinless knees. Can kick far back to her butt. Kick forward. Feet can hinge forward and back, and she has an ankle rocker. Did Hasbro just granted our Christmas wishes? Yes, they did. This was a missing piece of the Excalibur team. Though she has a few missing pieces which I discussed in length in this review, she still is a must-add for X-Men fans, especially Cyclops and Jean Grey fans. If you found the comic book history and the toy history useful in this review, I made several Marvel Legends reviews that are similar to that. Here is a link on the top right corner of your screen. Thank you for watching. Hope you give this review a hype, a like, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends. Coming up soon are a few more Marvel Legends reviews. Hope to see you in the next one.